Students, this is your chapter number 5, Women Change the World. In our previous chapter of civics, we studied that how women they work in home, which is not recognized as work. We also read that how doing household work and taking care of family member is a full-time job, and there are no specific hours at which it begins and at what time it gets end. In this chapter, we will look at the work outside the home and understand how some occupation they are seen to be more suitable for men than for women. We will also learn about how women struggle for equality. Getting an education was and still is one way in which new opportunities they were created for women. In this chapter, we will briefly trace the difference between different type of efforts made by the women's movement to challenge discrimination in most recent years. Who does what work? Now, in olden times, women they were not allowed to go out to work. Education was given only to the chosen few. But time have changed now. Women they are now rubbing shoulders with men in all fields of life. Though their presence may be rather insignificant somehow. Once now you see the women they are working in politics, business, education and even in the field of army also. So here is one exercise for you. Let us do an exercise. You can see here on a scale of 1 to 10. Find out how many men and women they work in the following field. Here you can take 2 minutes students to just evaluate that in which field maximum women and in which field maximum men are there. You can see that teachers, if we talk about teachers, men and women somewhere it is equivalent. Farmers men ratio is more, factory worker men ratio is more. If we talk about nurses, women's ratio is more, scientist men ratio is more, pilot men ratio is more. Overall ratio for men is more. Now you see, if we were to discuss that why we find more women as a nurse, right? So the answer would be that the women they are gentle, they are patient. Similarly, we find that there are more men in the field of there are more men who are pilot. So the answer would be for this that the reason for this that why men are more is because they are technically sound and are capable of reacting firmly in an emergency. Now, due to this stereotype belief, which stereotype belief that women they are patient, this is the reason they become nurse maximum. So for the pilot and for hard works, they think that men they are strong, they can handle that work. So this is nothing but a stereotype belief that women they often lag behind men in various jobs and occupations. Girls they do not get the same support from their family members as boys get. It is often seen that after the basic schooling is over, girls they made to believe that their main objective is to get married and to become a nice person and to look after the house and family. It is the main objective that after their basic schooling is over, girls they are made to believe that their main objective is to get married, to be a nice person, get married to a nice person and to look after his house and family. Whereas if we study the data, about 84% of women they are working in the fields. About 84% of working women of our country they work in the field as farmers, agricultural laborers. Now you see here data shows that there are men more than women, but in actual 84% of working women of our country they work in the field as a farmer, agricultural laborers. They are generally employed in sowing, transplanting, weeding, harvesting and threshing. And men they generally plow. But we hardly think of a woman farmer, right? We hardly think. When the term farmer comes, what comes in your mind? A farmer means kisan, a man. We feel a farmer is always a man. This is nothing. This is only a stereotyped belief. Stereotyped belief means a normal view, a normal thought which is created by the society. The teachers, if we think about teachers, what comes in our mind? A female. If we talk about nurses, what comes in our mind? A female. Where nurse is a neutral word. It can be used for both men and for women. It can be used for both. But what comes in our mind? Nurses means female. If it is a pilot, then we think about our mind goes to the male person more. Yes, we definitely might be some from you girls must be thinking that I also can be pilot. Now this is the actually the belief, this is the change we are feeling now. We are now, because of this education, now we have, our thoughts have changed. This is how the women change the world. Next is fewer opportunities and rigid expectations. What does it mean? Fewer opportunities means less opportunities, and rigid expectation means a hard, which is very difficult to accept. Now, gender is the root of all social inequalities between men and women. Gender, male or female. This is the only root cause, a major root cause of all social inequalities, all social discrimination, differences. What is the main cause? That is gender. Gender means the whether male or female. Now, see, less attention. What does it mean? Female, they receive less attention than men. Their health is normally poor. Moreover, childbirth also renders them weak. The number of girls in school and colleges is much less than the boys. Women, they are not allowed to decide the even course of their life. Young age marriage, what does it mean? Young age marriage, they are married off at a very young age. There are legal loopholes which deny inheritance right to women. Now it has been somewhere it has been abolished also at some extent. Now women, they are supposed to look after the house and the children, as I told you in the starting. If a woman goes out to work and she is expected to attend both the duties. If the woman is going out to work, then her duty is to look after the home also, look after the house also, and outside duties also. So, if a woman goes out to work, she is expected to attend to both the duties. You can see this in your surroundings even. So, what actually this result? It results in the physical and mental exhaustion, right? So, physically and mentally, somewhere it affects a woman. Next topic is learning for change. What does it mean, learning for change? Learning for change means school is the most important aspect for growing children. From where we learn? What is the source? Where we go? Where we learn? We learn from the schools. Going to school is an extremely important part of our life, of your life. As more and more children they enter school every year, we begin to think that it is normal for all children to go to school. Today it is difficult for us to imagine that school and learning could be seen as out of bounds, as no appropriate for some children. You can also see this thing nowadays in COVID-19, how we are connecting, how we are carry on, how we are trying to complete, how we are trying to cover the gap, this gap without going to school. Even we are trying to cover the gap, but we cannot live without learning, we cannot live without school. It is nowadays, it is extremely important part of our life. Everything stopped, but we cannot stop learning, we cannot stop schools. But in the past, the skill of reading and writing was known to only a few. Most children, they learned the work from their families or their elder one. For girls, the situation was worse. In communities that taught sons to read and write, daughters, they were not allowed to learn the alphabets even. Even in the families where skills like poetry, weaving, and craft were taught, the contribution of daughters and woman was only seen as supportive. For example, in the poetry trade, women, they collected the mud and prepared the earth for the pots. But since they did not operate the wheel, they were not seen as a porters. You can see this image. This is the lady who is going to collect all the mud for these pots, but the final touch is given by the man. So if we talk about porters, what comes in our mind? A man. In the 19th century, many new ideas about education and learning emerged. Schools, they become more common, and communities that had never learned reading and writing, they started sending their children to school. But there was a lot of opposition to educating girls even then. Yet many women and men, they made efforts to open schools for girls. Women, they struggled to learn, to write, to read. This is how learning for change. This is the reason that schools, they are considered to be an extremely important part of our life. Now here we have some examples like Rokeya Shekhawat. Now who is she? Rokeya Shekhawat. Let us continue this topic with one example. Such example, Rokeya Shekhawat. Who was Rokeya Shekhawat? Rokeya Shekhawat, she was born into a rich family. You can see this image. This is Rokeya Shekhawat, and this is the book. She wrote this book, Sultana's Dream. So Rokeya Shekhawat, she was born in a rich landlord family. She knew how to read and write Urdu, but she was not allowed to learn English. Why she was not allowed to learn English? Because English was considered to have a bad effect on women. People, they used to think that if their girls will read English, they will learn English, they will be influenced by Western culture. So this was the reason they were not allowed to read or to learn English. Only boys were allowed to learn English. Where Rokeya Shekhawat, she learned to read and write English with the help of her elder sister and elder brother. At the age of 25, she wrote a book called Sultana's Dream. Student, it is written Sultans. It is Sultanas. I am spelling it Sultanas. A will come after N. Sultana's Dream in 1905. It is a story of Ladyland. You must be thinking, what is Ladyland? Ladyland is a place where women had the freedom to study, to work, and to move around. So Rokeya, she used to imagine the brain power of women, that the brain power of women is ruling the power of guns, weapons of men. She dreamed that Ladyland is a place where women, they can fly air cars, they can create invention, like they can control rain. You must be thinking that how hilarious this thing is. That for you it is very simple, that going to school, study and work is quite easy. But it is in the same way, if I will say you today that there is a tablet in the market, when you will take the tablet and you will be invisible. So you will say how it is possible. It was in the same way in the past. For the girls to get education, to learn English, to going to school was same way. The way it is unbelievable for you, for me now, that the tablet will come and we will be invisible. The same way the thought was in the past. Sending a girl to a school for work was that it was very difficult for them. Right? So at the age of 25, she wrote a book. That name of the book is Sultana's Dream. In 1905, she wrote. It is mentioned that when Sultana, she wakes up and she finds it was just a dream. In those days, even before girls were allowed to go to school, Rokeya was imagining a woman to fly planes, cars and invent things. Rokeya was able to imagine all this because of her education. She started school at the age of 1910, which is now also functioning in Kolkata. So next is Rashundra Devi. She wrote her autobiography when she was 16 years old. Earlier we did example of Rokeya Shekhawat. Now is Rashundra Devi. So Rashundra Devi, she wrote her autobiography when she was 16 years of age. and she is known to be the first autobiography. It is known that it is the first autobiography written by an Indian woman. This is one another example of a woman power in old days. This is the story of a woman who was born in year 1800. She wrote her autobiography when she was 16 years old, known to be the first autobiography written by an Indian woman. In her autobiography, she wrote that her work started at dawn and continued till midnight. She had no rest during the day. She was only 14 years old. She wanted to read her religious manuscripts. As in those days, women were not educated. At that time, it was believed that if a woman learned to read and write, she would become bad luck to her husband. See the thought. See how what kind of thought that time was prevalent, stereotyped, I can say. In those days, that women, they were not educated. Why? Because at that time it was believed that if a woman will learn to write and read, she would bring bad luck to her husband. So she first had to learn and to read and write. Now she matched the alphabets to those of the pages of Chaitanya's, and after much efforts, trial and error, she learned to read secretly. So in this way, she learned to read because she was dedicated. It was her determination that helped her to read. With her autobiography called Amar Jeevan, her autobiography Amar Jeevan means my life. She gave an opportunity to whole world to know about the lives of women in those days. She wrote about her experiences. She was only 14 years old and had to work from morning till night. Sometimes she had no rest, no time even to sit and eat. So this is the story of Rasundra Devi, how she struggled. So in these two stories about Rokhaya and Rasundra, what is there? The main point is that how they struggle to get education, how they struggle to learn and to write, to read English. Right? So now next is schooling and education today. Schooling and education today. As per the census in 1961, about 40% of the male, they were literate. Literate means padhe likhe. Only 15% of all girls and women could write their names. Now a census is held, you must be thinking, what is census? Census is held after 10 years in India to find out the total population, various aspects of population like literacy, gender and others. Right? As per the census in 1961, about 40% of male were literate. They could at least write their names. Only 50% of all the girls, women could write their names. In the latest census in 2011, Janganna, right, in 2011, these figures have risen. Where it was earlier 40% of males, now see it is 82.14% of males. And where it was only 15% of girls, and now the percentage is 65.46% of girls and women, those who could write their names. The result of these two censuses tell us that the literacy rate for both males and females have increased. But the gap between the literate men and women has still not been bridged subsequently. There are several reasons why children of various castes, they leave school at different age. It is also important, you can say, a major problem nowadays also, that what is the reason why students, they leave the school at different age. This is clearly shown from the study of a table that I am going to show you on the next page. Percentage of boys and girls drop out from school. Now you can see here very clearly. This is the ratio of 34, 37, 49, 29. This is the dropouts. Dropout means those who are leaving school in between only. Right? Like primary school, if we talk about the boys, all boys total 34 SC 37 and ST 49. Now you see the maximum boys, those who are leaving school, is from SC scheduled caste or from scheduled tribe. Same case is with the girls. The girls, those who are from scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, they are dropping out school in between more. They are leaving school. They are leaving school at different ages early than higher caste. See elementary, the ratio is again more. For boys and for girls, for SC boys and ST girls, the ratio is again more. Right? Everywhere you can see the ratio is more. Now what is the reason? What is the reason that they are leaving school early? You have probably noticed that in the above table, in this table, that scheduled caste and scheduled tribes girls, they leave school at a rate that is higher than the category of all the boys and all the girls, right? The census 2011 also found that Muslim girls, they are less likely than scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, right? They hardly complete their studies. Now what are the reasons for this all table? What are the reason why they leave school early? Reason why children from lower caste, they leave school early. Number one, the lack of proper schools in the rural areas. Schools are not available for them. Going to a school which is far away from their house is difficult, so they are not sending them. Second is lack of good teachers in the rural areas. In the rural areas, teachers, they are not there. The appointments are very less in the rural areas. This is the reason I'm talking in the past, right? So according to the census, the report is this 2011. Now number 3 is poverty. Many families, they do not have enough income to educate girls, so they concentrate on giving education only to the boys. Number 4 is the discrimination on the basis of caste. So these are the reasons. Because of them, the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe girls, they drop their school in mid of the session. Next is women's movement. Now what does it mean? The struggle of women to gain equality with men in the society may be termed as women's movement. Here this is a spelling error. It is not many. It is may be termed as women's movement. Now the main objective of women's movement is to spread awareness and fighting discrimination. Women and girls now, they have the right to study and go to school. There are other spheres like legal reforms, violence and health, where the situation of women and girls have improved. These changes have not happened automatically. It has not happened automatically. This is because of some movements. This is the reason. This is the result of the struggles. Women, they individually and collectively, they have struggled to bring out these changes. This struggle is known as women's movement. So what does it mean? Women's movement, what does it mean? It means women individually and collectively, they have struggled to bring about these changes. Which changes? Changes means right to go to school and to work. Individual women and women's organization from different part of the country, they are part of the movement. Many men, they supported women's movement as well. The diversity, passion and efforts of those involved makes it a very vibrant movement. It is not only the women, those who were struggled. During this struggle, there were many men, those many male person, those who helped, who struggled for these discrimination. The diversity, passion and efforts of those involved makes it a very vibrant movement. Different strategies have been used to spread awareness, fight discrimination and seek justice. And now here we have some struggles in the form of campaigns. What is campaign? Campaigns to fight discrimination and violence against women, and they are an important part of women's movement. Campaigning was very important part of women's movement. Campaigns have also led to new laws being passed. A law was passed in 2006. A law was passed in 2006 to give women who face physical and mental violence within their homes, and also called domestic violence some legal protection. So for these, a law was passed in through 2006. Similarly, efforts have been made by the women's movement led the Supreme Court to formulate guidelines in 1997. In 1997, Supreme Court it formulated guidelines to protect women against sexual harassment in educational institutions and workplaces. So what does it mean in 1997 to protect women against sexual harassment at the workplaces and within the educational institution? Supreme Court it formulated some guidelines. Then in 1980s also, for example, women's group across the country they spoke against dowry deaths also, against the dowry system. They spoke against the dowry system. I have mentioned it here, right? So they fought against the dowry system. The cases of young brides they are being murdered by their in-laws or husband greedy for more dowry. Women's group spoke out against the failures to bring these cases to justice. They did so by coming on the streets, approaching the courts, and by sharing information. Eventually, this became a public issue in the newspaper and society, and the dowry laws were changed to punish families who seek dowry. Nowadays, also, dowry is a crime. The families, the people, those who are asking for the dowry system, they are being punished. But this is actually the responsibility of the people to inform the system, inform the government regarding this. Some people, those who hide, they are being affected afterward. So there are law of inheritance for women in 2005, Hindu succession law. So what does it mean, Hindu succession law? The law actually gives the right to the daughters that all the sons, daughters and their mother will get an equal share of the father's agricultural land. This land is applicable to the Hindu community only. So means, what does it mean? Hindu succession law we have studied already in our grade 6th also. It means all the daughters, sons and mother they had equal share in father's agricultural land. Then some special measures they have been taken by the government to ensure the equal right to the education of girls and women. Not only this, we have right to education. Now right to education means each and every child has right to get education, that is also free of cost, right? Then strict measures have been taken to check the child marriage, child abuse and female infanticide, right? So there are strict measures for this. If there is somewhere some case of child marriage, they are being punished. Rising awareness, this is the last topic of your chapter. Now in order to spread awareness about the right to equality and for eradication of violence against women, they started propagating the message through rallies, protest, street plays and through the media. Now just to make aware the people about the perception of a situation or a fact, they were concerned. So what they did, they started taking out the rallies, they started doing protest, street plays through medias. The women's movement raises its voice when violation against women take place. For example, when a law or a policy it act against their interest. What is the actually meaning of this protest and why they have taken out the rallies and all these things? When a law or a policy acts against their interest. So public rallies are the demonstration, are a very powerful way of drawing attention to the injustice. This was the end of your chapter. So the women's movement is also about showing solidarity with the other women and the causes. So on March 8th, I should tell you one thing. You should note down that on March 8th, International Women's Day, women all over the world, they come together to celebrate and to renew their struggle. So you should remember 8th March is celebrated as International Women's Day. Thank you, students.